everybody to the March Recess for Success program. We have Embrace the Grape owner Jane Monroe with us presenting strategic partnerships and how to cultivate the personally and professionally. Strategic partnerships are collaborative relationships formed between individuals or organizations with aligned goals and mutual benefits. These partnerships are crucial in both personal and professional contexts, and they offer opportunities for growth, knowledge, sharing, and increased influence. Personally, this can be achieved by actively listening, offering value without expecting immediate returns, and showing genuine interest in others' success. Professionally, strategic partnerships thrive on clear communication, shared objectives, and leveraging complementary strengths. Before we hear from Jane, we have Rick with UCM, but he is a little under the weather, aren't you?
A little bit.
You're just getting ready for the blizzard. So, Rick, thank you, UCM, for being a sponsor today. So we have Miss Jane Monroe. She was born here in Kansas City, and she's the founder of Embrace the Grape Beverage Catering, spending most of her adult life in the event industry. She is an entrepreneur at heart and has been successful in several startup companies. In 2009, Embrace the Grape was started as a beverage-only catering company, fully licensed in Kansas and Missouri, recognized and respected by its peers. Embrace the Grape thrives, serving all kinds of events, including weddings, corporate outings and celebrations, sporting events, concerts, and private parties. Our recent expansions include opening a satellite market in St. Louis and joining the food truck community with our own spin adult beverages. So please welcome Miss Jane Monroe.
Thank you, Jacob. That was lovely work. I appreciate it very much. Hi, hey, what a good looking room. So, strategic partnerships. I would love to just dive right into that part, but I think before we do that, it's going to be important to sort of break some things down before we get there. So, first of all, let's talk about strategic thinking. What is it? Well, before we get there, let's talk about actual strategy. It's a plan of action or policy designed to achieve a major overall aim. Now, I don't know about you, but when I read that, thank you, Google, for that definition. When I read that, I think, that is boring. So I think that we can probably do better. We can back up a little bit and say, okay, what is strategy not? And I think if we think about it, we can say strategy is not critical thinking. It's also not manipulation. So I really want to come to the difference between strategy and critical thinking. So let's start with critical thinking. That's what happens in the present. A lot of you are critically thinking right now. You're saying things like, wow, this is a nice full room. You're making an observation in the present. Some of you are saying, she's wearing some real cute boots today. And I say, thank you very much, I bought them at a thrift store. So that's critical thinking, things that you think in the present, observations you make that then you begin to create correlations with. And what you do with that critical thinking is maybe you turn it into strategic thinking. So what is strategic thinking? That is something you are thinking about in the future. You are here today and you want to be in this place physically, financially, emotionally in the future. Well, how do you get from where you are to where you want to be? And that's where the strategy comes in. You take your critical thinking, your observations, and you say, what's the best way for me to get there? And then you begin to create a strategy. So let's talk about a few ways that strategic thinking happens. It happens in your everyday life. Like, I was in the grocery store and I saw black-eyed peas, like a pound of black-eyed peas in the bag, 39 cents, you guys. That was my critical thinking. observation. And then I decide, I've never made black-eyed peas. I'm gonna make black-eyed peas. Fat Tuesday is coming, and you make black-eyed peas on Fat Tuesday because it's good luck, which is not true. That's actually New Year's Day. You make black-eyed peas. But today's Fat Tuesday, so happy Fat Tuesday to everyone. And by golly, I made black-eyed peas. So what I had to do was figure out all the things I needed to do to get to the end result, which was a delicious crock pot of black-eyed peas. And that included the grocery store and time to cook and all of that. Another example might be just that you're looking at your calendar and you've got a busy day or a busy week. And so you've got to structure how you're doing things. You've got to create a strategy to get from point A, 8 o'clock in the morning, to point B, 8 o'clock at night. And how are you going to do that and get all the things done that you need to do? You're creating a strategy. You're constantly creating strategies. Now what happens is something goes wrong in that day, or exactly not how you planned it. Then you've got to take critical thinking, reassess where you are, and maybe adjust your strategy so that it will then work to get you to the end result anyway. So, creating this presentation, let me tell you, when you create something like this, you think you know exactly how you're going to do it, and then you adjust it along the way because critical thinking kicks in. So the good news is your brain switches back and forth between critical thinking and strategic thinking all the time. So, listen, I can't do a presentation and not talk about the Missouri River 340 because for those of you who know me, it's part of my blood. It's what I do every summer. I paddle the river for 340 miles with my sister. And listen, it's grueling, but it's worth it, they say. So let's talk a little bit about what we do when we talk about the 340. So our goal is we want to finish in the front of the pack. And what does that mean? About 400 boats start, we want to finish in the top 50. So what do we need to do to finish in the top 50? Well, the first thing we need to do is only stop at ramps that are on the current side of the river. And what I mean by that is, the river does this, and on the wider bends, that's where the fast water is. And you want to stay in the fast water because, well, it's faster. And it's geographically longer, but the boost you get from the water underneath you is worth the geographic distance. So we only stop at ramps that are on the current side of the river. Why? It takes a lot of energy to get from the fast side of the river to the slow side of the river in order to get off the water. And then to go from the slow side of the river back to the fast side of the river takes time and energy, and we're racing. So we gotta stay on the current side of the river. What else do? We use the unpopular ramps. They're more difficult to get to by car for our ground crew, but they're better for us because not as many people are there, so we can get in and out very quickly. A third strategy is we just stay in the boat. When we do stop, it's for 5 to 7 minutes and we're out. We're not gathered for 20 minutes. We are in the ramp, out of the ramp, as fast as we can be. Now, who has helped us with this? I gotta tell you, on our ground crew, we have a retired military strategist. Yeah, he's real good. So it's great to have that. So that's just some of the ways we've created strategy around this race. Okay, I want to make sure that we are covering everything. So what are some ways that strategic thinking and critical thinking work together? So you might, again, everyday stuff, right? You might find yourself in a position that you're uncomfortable with. Done some critical thinking and you realize, I'm not comfortable in this situation. Maybe it's a business situation, maybe it's a personal safety situation. Not comfortable. And so you create a strategy to go to your goal, which is to then become comfortable again. So the good news is, critical thinking comes before, during, and after strategic thinking, and your brain turns on a dime to do that. And it's super great, there's no magic needed. So there's one thing I'll say about manipulation. So if strategic thinking is my plan to get me from point A to point B, it's all about me and my actions and what I'm going to do. It's about you and your actions, how you're going to act. Manipulation is when you try to change how somebody else is going to act for your greater good. That's no good. Always focus on changing how you are going to act to create your greater good. And that's really all I'll say about manipulation. So, before we go on to strategic partnerships, any questions? Okay, good.
You have to sleep on the river?
You can do anything you want on the river. I do not sleep on the river. I sleep on the banks of the river. Okay, so to take it a step further, a strategic partnership is, or a partnership, not strategic yet, a partnership is the joining of two or more people for a particular purpose in which everyone participates roughly and benefits about the same. So, let's see if this qualifies, and I'm going to go to the board for this. I, at one time, knew some people who created a business partnership. There were three people. There was Joe. I'm changing names for the innocent, right? There's Joe. Can you guys see that in the back of the room? Okay. Joe was the money man. He had the money to get started and enough money to kind of float the company through its growth period to profitability. Then there was Stan. Stan actually had business knowledge in this industry, in this niche. He knew what he was doing. He could run the company. He had intellectual capital. And then there was Max. Max had great people skills. Super cool dude. Everybody likes Max. Had kind of basic business knowledge, but not really a whole lot. So we got the money guy, we got the I can run the company guy, and we got the hey, I've got good people skills and PR person. So it looks like we've got a pretty good thing going. Everybody wants this company to profit. Everybody wants to make money. They've got a common goal. People know what their job is, and it looks on paper like we got a thing. This is going to work. But these three forgot one very important thing, and that is when you create a partnership, you have to have equality of character. They didn't even think about that. Equality of character. It might be the most important thing in a partnership. Well, Stan here had a tragic flaw. Stan's tragic flaw was a girlfriend with a drug habit. And you might say, listen, Stan's personal life is Stan's personal life. Leave the man alone. You know, his girlfriend's got a drug. That's really nobody's business. Except that Stan chose to do some business, if you will, inside the four walls of the company. So now there's illegal activity happening inside the company, and so Stan's got to go. So Joe and Max get together, talk to Stan and say, you know what, we can't have this, you got to go. Well now, who do we have? We've got a guy with money, and we've got somebody with people skills. We got nobody to run the company. And really, the partnership never really recovered. And it all came down to not equality of character. I can't stress that enough. So, in order for a strategic partnership to work, all parties have to be focused on helping the other party succeed. So if you're in it only for yourself, which really is what Stan was in it for, he was in it for his own self, his own glory. And then when he wasn't concerned about Joe's success or Max's success, and he was only concerned about his own success, that's where it all went down. But had he been concerned for everybody's success and had the strength of character, he would have said to the girlfriend, a lot of things. I can't tell you what he would have said, but it would have been different. Okay? So when you talk about partnerships, especially strategic ones, this idea about clarity of character and equality of character, along with making sure that everybody is working for everybody else's benefit. Very important. All right. So here are some partners. Anybody know who this is?
Ginger, Roger, and Fred.
Yeah, Ginger and Fred. They were great partners. I mean, they worked for the success and benefit of the other person, right? So Ginger Rogers is credited with saying, I can do everything a man can do, but I do it backwards and in high heels. She was probably one of the first outspoken feminists. But yeah, absolutely. I think what she was saying in those words was, I am absolutely 100% equal partner with this man, and we are in this together. So that's a great partnership. What about these guys? Yeah, you know, when the play needs to be made, Mahomes knows who to go to. And they are partners through and through, and they work to benefit each other and to benefit the team. Great partners. Anybody know who this is? Bonnie and Clyde. You know, not all partners are on the up and up. But what great partners they are, right? Because they had each other's back, they planned, they had a goal, they worked toward it together, and they did whatever it took to succeed. Great example of partners. Although, you know, maybe you don't invite them to dinner. Okay. Boy, we're whizzing through this stuff, you guys. We can't be that far. Okay, let's see what the next slide is, because I really don't have any idea. Okay, a strategic partnership, like Bonnie and Clyde, is when two or more people create a plan of action with a common goal and clearly defined roles in which everyone benefits. So, I want to take a minute, I want to divide up into some groups and have you guys kind of talk about strategy and where you might be able to find some strategic partnerships in your world. So to get your juices flowing, first of all, I want to talk about something else. Let's first talk about how to create a strategic partnership. So, the first thing you need to think about is becoming the kind of person you would like to partner with. And maybe for some people, I'm sure nobody in this room, that might mean you need to take a little step back and think more about who you are and where you need to improve yourself first. So, be the kind of person you actually want to work with. And then also be visible. Go to networking things, but not just every networking thing. Go to the ones that are targeted to the partnerships you want to create. Maybe it's in your industry, maybe it's in a side, like a sister industry. But just go out, be visible. And then also be aware. Be aware of who's around you. Be aware of who your competition is and what they're doing. Be aware of other partnerships that you might be able to also model or to maybe join in as another partner. And then lastly, be selective. When you want to partner with somebody, it's a big deal. It's your time, it's your energy. And so you want to be selective and make sure everybody is in it for the right reasons. Stan, right? Don't be a Stan. Okay, so now when we talk about breaking into groups, here's my goal for this. So I would like to break into maybe groups of 3 and not anybody within the same industry in a group, okay? And we're gonna take a couple of minutes for each person in the group to say who they are and what they do. So if it were me, I would say, hey, I'm Jane with Embrace the Grape, and here's what I do, which you already heard in my bio. Then you're going to talk a little bit about what pain point you solve. For Embrace the Grape, a great pain point we solve is anxiety. When somebody's having a wedding reception and they're concerned about running out of alcohol, well, we come in and we take care of the bar and we solve that anxiety, that pain point. Maybe their concern is, I don't want people to get drunk and ruin the affair altogether. I don't want that. Well, we can help alleviate that pain point. Maybe the pain point is just that they don't know how to put a bar together. We alleviate that anxiety also. So what we do is alleviate anxiety. And then with that in mind, somebody else in my group, in the second minute of that person's time, is going to say, well, gosh, Jane, if you alleviate anxiety, have you thought about talking to an event planner who talks to brides and grooms, and then you could be their go-to, create a strategic partnership with an event planner so that they have a bar service to use always, and also what I give back to them is a great experience to their client, which makes them look good. So this give and take. So what I would love to see happen is somebody's got a bright idea after someone else in your group talks about what they do. You go, oh, well, have you ever thought about a partnership here? Okay, so I'll give you just a couple other examples of partnerships that I have seen or experienced just to kind of get your juices flowing. So when my kids were little, I had this other mom who was a stay-at-home mom, and I was too, and we traded mornings. I kept her kids on Tuesday morning. She kept my kids on Friday morning. The goal was sanity. And what we needed to do was get away from our children. We love them, right? But honestly, they're children. So I would have her kids one morning a week, and she would go do anything she wanted. She could go to the grocery store, she could clean out a closet, she could sit on the couch and eat bonbons. Nobody cared, it was her time. Nobody had any piece of that time. And then I got to do the same thing. Now, there were some times when it was my turn to take those kids, I did not want them. But my day was coming. And she didn't probably want my kids either. So that was a great partnership where we did whatever needed to be done for the other person, and we also benefited. The other one I would say is this, I thought this was brilliant. There's a payroll company that, a sales rep for a payroll company that partners with a guy who sells 401ks. So if you think about your paycheck, if you participate in a 401k, there's money that comes out of your paycheck, and it has to go somewhere. Well, if the 401k manager or company is not good at what they do, then that money that comes out of the payroll and goes to the 401k company may or may not go to the right place right away exactly. And conversely, if the payroll company isn't very good, then the employees who are putting money into a 401k, payroll company might not be paying that quickly to the 401k to invest their money. So these two guys, one from a payroll company, one guy sold 401ks, would do sales calls together. And they would talk about each other and how important it is for the payroll and the 401k to talk to each other and to be strategic partners. And I thought that was brilliant. So that kind of gives you some ideas. Let's, how many people are in the room? Like 5? Let's pair off into 3s, okay? And I'll let you guys kind of do that and split up as you need. And I'm gonna give you a few minutes to just get started. So I'm gonna give 30 seconds to pair off. Ready, set, go. And I will give you, I'll give you a warning about when each person's time is about up.
Yeah, I in your group. We can't have all the white hairs together, boys. There's too much wisdom in one bucket.
Okay, if you're in 2s, that's okay. If there's a couple in 2s or just what, you're adults, you'll figure it out. Okay, so person number 1 as you identify person number one, go ahead and just talk about what you do and the pain point that you solve. Go.
Strategic partnerships, all of which we do everything. So it's more so finding connections to build future events. So like we do on a larger scale. So like guys like that I would potentially about like we're the most secure people here. We're the we do like teaching events for students. We do like this stuff.
Why don't you win that argument? But again, that's something now. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, from Kansas City, yeah, for sure.
No, yeah, it's so like the bowling alley. Okay.
Just remember to stick to a compass.
Close this up.
Okay, so Jeffrey asked, what do we do after we know the pain points? So,
That is super cool. Sometimes people do it too.
okay, so has everybody in the group had an opportunity to say who you are and what you do, what your pain points are?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm hearing two separate versions of this happening. I'm hearing this table where you guys all said who you are and what your pain points are, right?
Yep.
Instead of, I've heard other tables say, well, my name's Jeffrey Williams and I'm with, I can't remember the new name of your company, which is, thank you, Acrisure, and here's what I do, I'm a health and wellness insurance dude.
Right.
And my pain points are. And then, other people saying, oh my gosh, well if you're a health and wellness insurance dude, have you thought about talking to these people and have you considered strategic partners? So I love that you guys now all know each other. But now it's gonna be a matter of each of you coming back and saying to each person, hey, here's where I think you could affect a difference, okay? Or there may have been, like this group, Donna saying, here's who I am and here's my pain point, and then immediately these two saying, oh, well, here's how I think you could create a partnership. So I don't know exactly how you went about it, but let's take the next portion and continue in the way that makes sense to how your group interpreted what I said to begin with, okay? So, keep going.
We don't like to
So I work for University of Central Missouri. This is my facility. Health office and safety.
Not all, but yeah. Not everything.
Relations, also,
Yeah, in fact, I work in a program right now for some services to be small businesses.
yeah, well, that's a big part of the job. Because my boss has
A good partner for you to make the older care loss. I saw I'm also thinking of my friend this song and then my But as far as the strategic partnership, so do you know Jeannie for no, I heard that. Yeah.
there's always something that it's a possibility.
You're going to time out, Tom.
And I always think there's a lot of things more questions about it helps it's like essentially walking a person who actually responds kind of cover all but essentially, you actually had
How are you guys doing?
right around the
I think it what I said.
So by now you should be easily on your second person, probably on your third person, just for our time. And so if you're not on your third person yet, go ahead and move over to them.
Okay. If they haven't already, you'd be surprised. Yeah.
30 seconds to wrap it up. 30 seconds to wrap it up.
We're just doing a bunch of stuff in the community in the next couple of months. Like, that's our biggest focus, is getting to as many events next week as we can.
I cultivate a plan, so say I
So you're pretty good.
and I said, but
It's really when you get it, and it's just like, I've seen some other centers that are just like, information on there. I was like, no, we just have kind of the real information. You know, make that real for team building. And it's them, you know, any level.
Okay, guys. Boy, I love a room that is just buzzing and ideas going and exchange of thought. I love this. So let's come back
This resets the person.
and
Because, January one was building with
I'm really super interested to know some ideas that got exchanged, some thoughts that were exchanged. So does anybody brave enough to tell me what industry you're in, and first your name, what industry you're in, and then maybe some good thoughts that somebody gave you about how to create a strategic partnership? God, look how the room got quiet. Yes.
I can share. I'm Anna Bergen from Job One. We're in the nonprofit industry helping people find employment opportunities. And I just was sharing about a client of mine who's kind of wanting administrative support, and they gave me some really great ideas on how to kind of connect with the community, kind of looking at the chamber website, and then going to like maybe new businesses that are in the community, because I'm looking for kind of the unique job for her that's kind of specific. So that was a good idea, so I appreciate it there.
I
Nice
think
job.
if you go to B&I groups that are in this area, every time my husband hears that somebody needs a job, he brings them with him as a visitor to his B&I group, and he always finds them jobs. So,
Nice job. Extra bonus points. Okay, who else? Yeah, John?
We talked a little bit, some financing with houses that need rehabs and helping out people that are getting foreclosed on and all with a group. And so Courtney's got a company, the Servpro, and so she sees people that are in distress at times and need to find a way out. And so we felt like just that relationship is a good relationship.
So just by virtue of meeting somebody new at your very own table, you guys may have created a partnership? That's very cool. I love that. Anyone else? So John, you sort of segue beautifully into some of my wrap-up comments. And one of those is there are partnerships in this room that just haven't been created yet. And this is a great example at your table. So if there is someone you see in this room or someone that you know that you would like to create a partnership with, or just grab a cup of coffee with and exchange ideas, I highly recommend you do that, because these gatherings that the chamber does are great, but they're even better when they go one-on-one. They're way better when they go one-on-one. So what I want to do, because we did do introductions at the beginning, I want to just go around the room. Everybody say who you are and the industry you're in or the company that you work for, so we all know who's in this room. And let's see if something sparks with somebody that you might want to meet somebody over a cup of coffee and make that connection. So, Michelle, let's start with you.
Michelle Ford, I'm with Rayhon's Financial. Michelle Ford, I work for Rayhon's Financial.
I am Jeffrey Williams with Acrisure.
I'm Nate Capsina, and I'm with Southeast Enterprises. We serve the disabled community.
And I'm Dina with Addington Place Assisted Living and Memory Care.
Dawn Fry, Bill Fry, the plumbing guy. Jeff Driscoll Coaching.
Bob Glazer, Red Forest Fire Suppression Group. We do fire extinguishers and hood cleaning.
Daryl Lehman, Retirement.
Right there. Can I meet your
First
strategic
transfer,
partner?
CPA, tax service.
Noah Royce, AT&T.
Yeah, come up here.
I'm Donna Duffy. I retired but reinvented my own business called DD's Designs, and I do embroidered towels, machine embroidered towels.
Hey everybody, I am Amy Shield. I'm a life coach.
Hi, I'm Mary Farrow, Fueled for Greatness Nutrition Coaching.
Sheena Ha, MCC Longview Community College.
Hi, Denise Elam with the Chamber. I'm Riley Simmons with Gator Graphics Signs, Wraps, and Awnings. Hi, I'm Megan Miller with Main Event.
Hi, this is John and Julie Ellis, and we work with East West Properties.
Whitney Stevenson and
Anna Bergen.
we're with Job 1.
Courtney Willie with Serve Pro Fee Summit.
Hi everyone, Kaliki Wambua with Insulation Commandos of Kansas City. We do residential and commercial insulation.
Doesn't she have the coolest name ever? Laura Maxwell, Acrobus Communications. I do editing and proofreading.
Lisa Frog with the Chamber.
Deborah Conrad, Security Bank of Kansas City.
Jacob Honeycutt, Complete Weddings and Events.
Rick Spatana, University of Central Missouri.
Jeff Bauer, Abbott Athletics, Fast Pitch Softball.
Brad Keel, SDG, Architecture and Interiors.
Okay, so now you know who's in the room. And if something struck a chord with you, make a connection with that person before you leave and say, hey, let's grab lunch, let's get a cup of coffee, let's know each other better, let's just banter ideas around, because it's from the ideas that the craziest, best strategic partnerships are created. Okay, I have one more thought for you, just to kind of put a cherry on top of all of this. When you get really good at creating strategic partnerships within your life, your personal life, your professional life, wherever, then what happens is your brain just kind of gets in that mode. And what you start to do is you start to see connections which need to be made. And then you begin to introduce people. And then you just become a connector. And that's really, I think, the best thing ever, to become a connector and just sort of step away. And the best connector that I know is this guy.
Who's that?
Now, I called Bob yesterday afternoon. I said, Bob, I'm putting the finishing touches on this strategic partnership thing, and I need some wisdom from Bob Glazer. And I was typing as he was talking. So, in Bob's words, there are so many connections, strategic partnerships between communities. And hear that word community. Maybe it's city to city. Maybe it's disabled with abled. Maybe it's men and women. Maybe it's, I don't know, what could it be? Communities could be anything. So, strategic partnerships between communities for somebody who has a big picture view. When you really create strategic partnerships, you have to have a big picture view, and Bob said it so well, just right off the cuff. He said, big picture view that benefits everybody. It's not how many people you know. It's how many people who know what you bring to the table. And it's all about value, and it's all about relationships.
I think I'm gonna cry.
And that was Bob Glazer off the cuff yesterday afternoon. So with that, thank you very much for having me. Here's my contact info if you want to talk to me about a strategic partnership or just want to grab a cup of coffee. Here's how you find me. Thanks, guys.